everyone. If you're just joining me, my name is Crystal Perham. I am a wife, mother, real estate broker, and entrepreneur. If you're just tuning into this video, that's because you probably are thinking about getting into the real estate business, or you just passed your test. And this video today is going to be all about how to choose a real estate brokerage. So let's get into it. So when you first get a license, you have to choose a real estate broker for most states prior to be able to get your license. The state says they want you to hang your license with a broker when you first start out, and so therefore you will have to choose a broker. But how do you pick? There's so many. Well, we're going to get into it today about all the top questions that you want to know when making that decision. And it is an important decision, right? Because it's kind of your home away from home once you get into real estate. So my number one thing that I'm going to recommend you make sure you know when you first go in and you're interviewing, because I'm going to tell you right now, every real estate brokerage wants you. No one's going to really turn you away, except for maybe if you have a full-time job, then sometimes there are certain brokerages who might say we don't take part-time agents, but that is not usually the case. Most of them will take you on. So you have to look at this not like they are interviewing you, you are interviewing them. And all brokers are going to have a pitch already designed and planned out to give to you. So my first thing is, how do they talk to you when you first go in, right? Is that broker talking to you in a way that's making you feel comfortable, or are they just rolling out some same old pitch about their brokerage and why you should join them? Next, that goes along with that, when you walk into the brokerage, do you feel comfortable? Do you feel like you just walked in and you have to feel like you're somebody else? Or it's out of your comfort zone and it's not really your vibe? Real estate brokerages all the time will sell a lifestyle. But if you're not comfortable when you walk in and you're not getting warm and fuzzy from the culture and the vibe of the office, if people aren't smiling and happy to see you and everybody's kind of walking around just doing their own thing, you may want to consider that. You need to be comfortable, because here's number one thing. You're going to be at this brokerage, and while you're new, you're going to have lots of questions. If you're uncomfortable the moment you walk through that door, you're definitely going to be uncomfortable when you have a major question, right? Yeah. So make sure that the vibe matches your personality. Make sure you feel comfortable when you go in and check it out. Really observe your surroundings. So next, I'm going to say is when you sit down with that broker, you want to know what they have for training. And when I'm talking about training, they're all going to have some training. You want to deep dive on what that training is about. Every real estate brokerage is going to train you on contracts. That's just part of what we do, right? They're going to train you on how to fill out a buyer agency agreement and a listing agreement and a purchase and sales agreement and whatever other paperwork your state may have. However, if the training stops at learning the overview of the brokerage, if they never mention that there's any training about how to advance your career through lead generation or masterminding to new ways to implement to get new business, you may want to consider that, because everybody's going to train you on the contracts and the do's and the don'ts for the most part. And some brokerages, I'll be honest, don't train you at all. You're kind of sink or swim, and it's kind of figure it out, right? So you just want to make sure that you completely understand about where their training stops, right? The next thing that I'm going to bring up is the most important, and that is money. Money makes the world go round, and that is why we get up and go to work every day. And while I love this business, at the end of the day, if the money wasn't there, would I stay in it? Probably not. So you want to know and understand where every dollar is going. That is so important. You need to know what you are paying for. So each brokerage is going to roll out their split to you, right? They're going to say, okay, here's our split, here's our fees. But you want to know every dollar and cent. Well, many agents go in initially kind of nervous and they really don't know what they're signing up for. I have so many agents that I talk to that joined a brokerage when they first got out. They didn't even know if they have a cap. A cap, just so you know what that is you want to know if your broker offers a cap. A cap is an amount of money that after you have paid, say, 30% or 25% out of all of your checks throughout your anniversary year, that money kind of goes into a pot and it accumulates over the course of the year. Well, many brokerages will say when you hit this certain dollar, when your pot gets this full and it's during your anniversary year, you may then go to 100% or 95% or 90%, and it may move you up to make more money. Well, you want to know if there's a cap, and you want to know if for that split and commission structure, how many deals do you really think you need to sell to make the cap, right? Because if it's going to take you 25 deals to cap, then you really want to consider what that structure looks like along your journey. But if you say that, okay, maybe the split's higher up front, but it only takes you 12, that's much more achievable. And many high producing agents that make a lot of money in this business, they are capping agents. And that is where they make their money, is when you paid in your amount to that brokerage to get to that 100% commission. But what your split and fees, it's not where it's going to end, right? You want to know where every dollar is, and you want to know what your responsibilities are. If that brokerage has a transaction fee that is due on every single one of your transactions, but they say they're going to teach you how to bill that back to the buyer and seller, well, you want to know if that transaction fee is something that sits comfortably with you. I don't see the transaction fees a whole lot out in my area. However, when I was in Las Vegas, billing the buyer or the seller an admin transaction fee on top of what they were already paying for commissions was a common thing. And so therefore, you want to know what that transaction fee is, and can you live with that? Are you comfortable with that? So you want to make sure you're aware of that. Is there a franchise fee? And if so, how much? Is it 6%? Is it 8%? And if there is a franchise fee, does that franchise fee cap? Meaning again, that when you have paid that franchise fee to a certain dollar, that for the rest of that year, you're done paying. These all are things you want to factor. The next thing I'll bring up when it comes to commission is there's all different types of companies, right? So you will see companies that sell themselves as 100% commission. You have to ask yourself, is it really 100% commission? I will tell you, my brokerage does operate similar to the 100% commission model. However, I have never called it 100% commission because it's not. We still have a transaction fee that the agent pays into the brokerage. Now, we don't bill that back to the buyer or seller. The agents look at that like it is their split. And that is overall reduced from a traditional brokerage. The other thing you want to know is a lot of brokerages have a monthly fee. You want to know what this is paying for. You want to know, what are you being provided for that monthly fee? What kind of tools are being offered? You know, if they say they give you a CRM, then you want to ask, does that CRM have a fully functional front-facing website that's customizable to me? The next thing you want to know is, can you brand yourself? This is a big one. Most agents that are brand new don't think about it in that regard. In some cases, you may be wanting to talk to the brokerage about, are they going to stick you on a team, or what does that mentorship program look like? You want to know all of these things because if they have a mentorship program, there's probably another fee for that mentor. So again, it goes back to the money portion. You want to understand what you're responsible for. We all get up every day and go to work to make money. Otherwise, most people wouldn't work. Maybe you would for boredom, but at the end of the day, it is our career. We are 1099 business owners. And so just like any business owner, these are all costs that go along with it. You want to know where your bottom line is. Back to branding yourself. You want to make sure that as an agent, if it's important to you, that you can brand yourself, that your signs can have your name on it. There are many companies, the big box companies, that say you have to use our sign. And there are some brokerage offices that say the same thing. And with that, they may include the install for said sign, and you might be able to add a rider. But if you really want the ability to brand yourself, you want to know how that works for that brokerage. Next thing, talking about mentorship. You need to know what kind of support and what kind of training is available to you. You need to know, will you have one single mentor, or is it going to be a situation where you're kind of on your own to figure it out? And if you have a question, there may be somebody who can help and answer you. You also want to know, if they do assign you a particular mentor, how many other new agents does that mentor have? How many deals a year does that mentor close? I have heard so many people that have been plopped on a team because that's what they do with new agents. They call it sponsoring, and you are forced to go under a team where that team leader is a powerhouse on their own. They are a team leader. You do go under them, but how much time do they really have to extend to you? So you want to know these things, and you want to know the makeup of what they're teaching you. The next thing I will say is you want to know and reflect on what kind of person you are. Are you the type of person that can completely work alone and get lots of stuff done, and you're totally fine with working and being self-motivating? Well, if so, you may prefer to work from home. And you may want Zoom classes and online classes available to you for you to learn via technology. However, you might be the type of person where you're like, my house is a zoo during the day, the nanny's home with the kids, the dogs are all up my... I can't work here, I have to go to an office. So in that case, you want to make sure that they have a place for you to be able to go. And if so, are you going to pay more for that desk? These are all things we have to think about. The next thing I will mention is E&O insurance. E&O insurance is a big one because most brokerages have it, and it covers you in the event there is something wrong or something went wrong and the liability thereof. However, if this brokerage bills you back the E&O insurance at the end of your year, you need to be aware of that. So is there an additional fee for that E&O insurance? So when you're going through meeting with a broker, you want to know all of these things. Next, and this is a big one, if a brokerage is selling you on the idea that if you recruit, pyramid scheme, if you recruit, you will get X, Y, and Z back and residual income, you need to say to yourself, do I want to be a recruiter or do I want to be a real estate agent? Because many companies that really push the recruiting, many companies, including mine, we have a little thing that we give back to our agents for bringing a new agent in. But I make it very clear up front, I don't want recruiters. I want real estate agents who want to keep more of their income, learn, and have an awesome culture. And if by doing it that way, we're bringing in more awesome agents. But if you go to a brokerage that really pushes recruiting, and they're, if you're hard up because you're not maybe doing well, or you're not, selling, or you're having a hard time getting your career off the ground, Well, a lot of times they're going to come back to you and say, well, you can make more money if you recruit.
I think not.
No. You have to decide what you want to be. Do you want to be a recruiter or do you want to be a realtor? Because those companies that really high pressure recruiting, that's going to be a big one. Sorry about that. I kicked the stand. So that's going to be a big one. You're going to want to think about that, right? So be wary of that. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. The next thing, broker support is so important. When you join that brokerage, they're probably going to sell you on their training and their mentorship program and all these great, awesome things. However, if you need your broker, and there will be times you need your broker, and there are going to be things that come up that are going to be beyond a mentor level, you want to know that your broker is available, that they are accessible, that they are invested involved in their business, because you want to be able to have access to that broker if something ever comes up. I know multiple companies where the broker is not even here. They're smaller, more independent, but they're nowhere to be found. And the chain of command is to maybe go to an admin, or you go here, or you go to this person or that person. You want to make sure the broker is local, they're involved in the business, and that they're going to be there if you need them. Make sure the culture is something that you can get on board with. Make sure when you go in, you are feeling comfortable. Make sure you have a clear understanding of all of your financial commitments that you are signing up for and what those numbers look like. Play around with it. Go home. Play around with how commission is designed. Take a $400,000 house and multiply it by 2%, and then sit there and work your way back of all the different things you've got to pay into your broker and see what you're left with. Make sure that if there is training, that they are going to provide further training on how to get your career off the ground with lead generation techniques and masterminding. And it's always nice when you have a brokerage also who does things to keep the office together and just has some times where you guys can get together for fun, lunches and things of that sort. So make sure that your broker is going to be available to you. That's a big one. So overall, I would say that these are going to be the most important things you really want to know while choosing a brokerage. I hope this video helps, and if you're thinking about getting in the business or you just passed your test, definitely click some of my other videos below. I have one about all of the ongoing costs that you're going to incur coming into the business, and so on. So if you like this video, you like this content, hit that subscribe button and give this video a like up for me, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Thanks for tuning in.